Hello and welcome to the Soul Sync podcast. I'm Jason Paul. Now, we're going to be having a spiritual and soulful journey today as we welcome a remarkable guest to the Soul Sync podcast, Petra Haberl. She's a medium, teacher, mentor and healer with over 13 years experience in this field, and she comes from Austria. Petra's extraordinary path began with a quest for healing when conventional medicine fell short. Prana Energetic Healing marked the inception of a transformative journey that eventually led her to embrace her role as a medium. Her life took an unexpected turn as she embarked on this spiritual voyage, forever altering perspective and sense of self. A pivotal moment for Petra was her first encounter with her spirit guide, fondly named Cloud. Sitting in the tranquil surroundings of Tyrol, Petra found an undeniable energy validating her connection with the spirit world. Little did she know at that time that this connection had roots reaching back to her childhood. Now, intriguingly, Petra approaches her mediumship with a deep sense of feeling and clairvoyance, surrendering herself to the guidance of the spirit realm. Her authenticity shines through, unburdened by the desire to conform to the typical love and light archetype. She stands firmly grounded, embodying her true self in a unique Austrian context. Petra's journey into mediumship was marked by self-doubt, a paradoxical force that propelled her deeper into the realm of the unknown. Her love for the experience, the adrenaline rush of connecting with the spirit world, and the profound love shared in these encounters fortified her resolve. In our conversation with Petra, we'll explore the intricacies of her unique journey from moments of doubt to the unwavering support of the spirit world. She'll share insights into how she found herself where she is today. For this episode, I invite you to surrender to the guidance of the spirit world as Petra brings forth stories and experiences that are sure to inspire and illuminate your path. Together, we'll uncover the magic of life and the incredible power that resides within each of us. I hope you enjoy. So Petra, thank you so much for joining me on the Soul Sync podcast.
Hi, Jason. What a pleasure. And so nice to see you and to talk to you again.
Oh, it's lovely. So I just let everyone know, I first met Petra when I was at the Arthur Findlay College, which by now you've heard all about because that was a few months ago. And I really absolutely loved everything about Petra and her energy. But lots of people don't know about you. We've talked a bit about you in the introduction, but tell us a bit about your story because it is really interesting, Petra.
About my story. So where do you want me to start? First of all, I'm Austrian. So maybe this is one of the big things. Being a medium out of the country of England, maybe something special. And it was an amazing ride to go. But yeah, it was fun and I really loved the way. Although it was sometimes hard because mediumship is something not that well known in Austria. When I talk to the English guys, you all got your churches and everything like this, and you got the AFC and you got a lot of teachers and mediums, and as the stories are told in Austria, you are also allowed to bring the healers into the hospital or something like this. Nothing about that in Austria.
Why do you think there's not any of that at all in Austria? Is it a cultural thing or?
I think so. The most belief systems, the greatest one is definitely the Catholics. And there are also some evangelists and some others, smaller parts. But yeah, I think that's why.
So tell us about your journey into mediumship. How did you, because obviously you live in a country where there's not mediums. It's not really known. So how did you come to even get into it?
I think it's always intelligence of spirit. In some form or another, some way or another. No, everything started, to be honest, with illnesses where the medical doctors weren't able to deal with it, that it will be good and fine for myself. So I had to find other people, find other possibilities to do something good for me and for my health. And that's why I came up to Prana Energetic Healing. It's one method, one form of healing without hands, without touching. And I went to this lady for 3 times, and really on my whole body, 2 illnesses, 70%. Really, you could see it, and it was so much better. And I was just thinking and going, what the hell is going on? She never touched me. She was just standing there, waving with her hands above my body, talking, and of course a little bit of different music, and she was just telling me, it works so good within you, Petra. Why don't you try and do the education for it? And I was just thinking, okay, yeah, why not? Children have their own life now, and just go ahead. You need a hobby. Sounds really interesting. So I did it. And this was the start of everything. And during this education, I was told a lot that I am clairsentience. And I thought, I ain't got a clue what's that. Because for me, it was normal. It was natural. Without thinking about it, when I met other people, in one form or another, I knew that what is going on in their body, or Also, you can also maybe a little bit like telepathics or something, but on the sentience way.
Was it that? And how many years ago are we talking about this healing experience happened?
It's now more than 15 years.
Okay, so you were kind of getting these feelings, but I get, because myself, for instance, I've always been able to just tell if someone a good person, not a good person, what trauma that person, what their insecurities might be. I can sort of, but I always put that down to nothing mediumistic or psychic. I just used to say it was, I would feel it. For you,
yeah.
I'm guessing it was something that you just in those days just kind of accepted that you knew.
I was used to it. It was normal for me. I didn't knew that there is a specific word for it. So that's why. And then I started, just because of all this talking with other people in this education form, with all the healing and everything like this. And I started and I found another education form just to work for 1 year only on my sentences. Hearing, smelling, tasting, all of them.
And how would you work on those? What was the kind of exercises you would do to develop those?
Now we know it as sensitive work.
So you would kind of test your ability to tell the difference in...
Yeah. Also with other people, or with colors, or with cards, or readings and everything like this, but always on the sensitive level. And it's definitely important to get the feedback from someone else to get sure how it works in you, and to find out how special it is, because I didn't knew.
When you started going on that journey of learning and developing, was it quite apparent to you quite early on that you had something that perhaps might not be classed as normal, these feelings and whatever? Did it kind of feel to you that you were going along the right path?
All the feelings went much more intense, and there was a lot more of you're always busy with it. You recognize it all the time, because there is so much attention on it. Of course, you feed your brain, you feed your knowledge, and then you want to train it, and you want to explore it and everything like this, so that it begins to expand. That's why. And I think those times were sometimes really hard not only for me, also for the other people around in my normal daily life, and challenging sometimes. Yeah, because there was not the understanding that I had at this time. And for the people here, when you it's like always, when you don't know something about it, it's just crazy. It's unserious or something like this. And when we go back to that, the people in Austria don't know that much about. So
I suppose it's easy as well for someone like myself who lives in England to take for granted probably just how hard it was for you to develop in, you know, we're very blessed in this country. You only have to, you know, go down the road and you're in a spiritualist church somewhere or another. Yeah. But to develop that in that setting, I can imagine was quite challenging. I want to ask you about one of the things that you put in your kind of guest form before we spoke, which really jumped out at me, and I thought I must ask Petra about this, was about, tell us about this bench that you sat on near a cemetery and what happened, because I want to and I also want to understand as well the book that you read and how this all worked, because it just sounds absolutely fascinating, Petra. So tell us about that.
What is the real fantastic thing in it? The cemetery or what?
I think it's the whole thing. The fact you read a book the first time you sat there. So tell us the story.
The story about the bench started a little bit sometimes before, because the third thing I really started with the mediumship was in one of the last exercises in the sensitive course. I did an aura reading, and the client said, yeah, everything is true and everything is right, but it's not about myself. And I was just thinking, okay, what's going on there? And then I asked the teacher, and she told me, as answer of my question, because I asked her, hey, it's not in my energy, it's not in her energy. So where are the informations? Where do they come from? And she just told me, you're talking to the grandmother. Yeah. And I said, the grandmother. And where is she? No, she's in spirit world, and she is standing next to you. And I thought, yeah, the next crazy people. Okay. And no, yeah. And she was so nice and kind. And she told me about England, that there are normal teachers. And those are really the words she said to me. Petra, that's what you're used, because normal going to school. There are teachers, there are schools. You've got your break, you've got your lessons, and you got your answers. So good. And then I started to find people, German-speaking ones, and there are a lot of German-speaking mediums now, and also, thank God, 15 years ago. And I just read one book, and it was about meeting the guide. And I was so interested, because next information, what are guides, and what do you do with them? And yeah. Okay.
Do you remember what the book was?
Yeah, it was from Pascal Fockenhuber.
Hey there, fellow soul seekers. Are you feeling the vibes of this episode swirling through your auric field? I know I am. But before we dive back into this enlightening conversation, I want to take a moment to chat with you. If you're enjoying the deep insights and soulful discussions on the Soul Sync, then I want to invite you to join our community by hitting that subscribe or follow button. And by doing so, you'll never miss a beat, and you'll be supporting us in our mission to spread positivity and spiritual growth. But wait, there's more. Your feedback is invaluable to me, so why not take a moment to write me a review, share your thoughts, ask questions, and let's spark some soulful conversations together. And who knows, your review might even be featured on the show. So let's keep the energy flowing. Subscribe, follow, leave a review, and let's continue to grow and evolve on this incredible journey. Thank you to all of you for being part of the Soul Sync family. Well, I might have to put that in the show notes afterwards. That's a bit of a mouthful.
He's well known in Switzerland. He wrote a lot of books. And for the German people in Austria and Switzerland, he's well known now. Also was taught also from the English mediums. Yeah.
So you read this book, and there was an exercise in it, I believe. Yeah. Okay. Tell us about the exercise and what happened.
The exercise just told of just sit down on a place where you feel comfortable, go into the quiet, close your eyes, breathe gently, everything is good. Keep care just that no one interrupts you, that you are safe and everything like this, and just let go. And then just send out one question to the spirit world that your guide will come and join you. And I thought, okay, I ain't got a clue who's that man could be or the woman or whatever it will be. And I did it. We were on holidays in Tyrol and I've got time, and yeah, it was the perfect moment for a nice exercise. And then I was sitting there, and immediately when I just sent out the thought to the spirit world, I just recognized that it felt like in front of my throat, it was like a cloud coming next to me. It was, you know, when you feel the pressure on the skin and like someone else is touching you, but it wasn't not the feeling that a hand is touching you. It was really, yeah. But to me, it was a cloud. That's curious enough because nobody knows how a cloud feels. But I think everyone can imagine the feeling, and this is also crazy too. So, and I asked, okay, in the moment I could feel it, and then I was saying, then I just thought, okay, go away, and I really felt the feeling, and the cloud went away, and I was just thinking, okay, come back again. Then the cloud came back, and this was really crazy, and for me, it was as crazy as the moment had been, and the exercise that worked. So my brain was blown, but it was so touching. The feeling, it was such a special feeling. It was not only that the touch of spirit world was there, it was the touch of spirit world was there. You know what I mean? It feels different, and you feel something, and at the same time, you feel so much. Yeah, now we call it love, of course, but it touches your heart. It touches everything in yourself, and it was amazing.
And Cloud, you you named this presence that you felt. You then developed a relationship with this presence, which it became your guide, or was your guide. Tell us about that, because you named this. Tell us about the story. I'm trying to piece together here the story and trying to, but I don't want to take all your punchlines of the beauty of the story away from you. Tell us, because I want you to be the teller of the story, not me.
It's also written in the exercise, and of course, the whole book is about spirit guides. So therefore, I knew that it won't be just one meeting with him. It's not one meet and greet. So I knew it's a normal thing when you to everything. Really, every man or woman or thing in this world, there is a name on it. And it makes conversation so much easier. So therefore, I'm a simple woman. Name it. And that's why it felt like a cloud. So I named it Cloud. And every time I sat down again and wanted to come in contact, I asked Cloud in spirit world to come back to myself. And it was always with the feeling. It was always the connection with the feeling. And the conversation started. Of course, it was mind-to-mind conversation because it was with spirit world. That's how it works. But like every friendship, with every meeting, with every experience you share, the relation grows and expands and goes on. And it does till today. He's still my guide.
Do you know about your guides? What's your kind of dialogue with the guide like? Is it kind of, can you have quite a fluid conversation about, anything you want to, or what's that kind of level of communication like that you sort of have with your guide?
Yeah.
Or has it changed over time, or?
Yeah, it has. In the first time, it was really important for me to get to know him just as an energy. Mm-hmm. For me, it's in my brain, it sounded no, not possible that this could be a man or something like this. And I wasn't, to be honest, I wasn't interested. I wasn't interested. That's normal with me. I'm not interested what the people work. I'm not interested what the family is going on. I'm just interested what the people tell me about themselves. What is important for them? And the same came up with Cloud. And I really could feel in the energy through all the years that he was not only a friend, he was really a guide. He was a supporter. He was a teacher. He was really also a guidance more through my own development to know myself better. It's sometimes crazy what the people hide in themselves. And Cloud was really a great teacher in exactly how do I put it? In the way I can take it. You know that when someone else wants you something to do and goes straight, do this now. I would say no.
Well, I guess he knows you probably better than anyone, and they have that level of intelligence. So you went on this journey then of, and I guess, do you know what? A really interesting thing is the fact that you kind of met your guide so early on in the journey is very interesting, because I guess it gave you a level of kind of comfort to know that you had your guide, because I'll be honest with you, I haven't yet found my guide, because
you search in the wrong bars and in the rest.
Yeah, probably, Petra. There's probably a level of truth in that. I am keen to find the guide, but we won't get on to me. That's a whole nother story. But one thing I can relate to is, recently, I've started to feel spirit, and it is that feeling of love. It's like a shower in love, and I found myself recently feeling that I keep floating up and levitate. And honestly, I've always wanted to have the superpower of flying, so that's been quite a nice experience. So you went along this journey of mediumship, and it eventually became your profession. And tell us about how you made that transition, because I'm always fascinated by how someone gets to the point where all of a sudden it goes from being something that's a curiosity to then being something that is in a whole nother level.
I think it was all about guidance. And because the spirit world really knew how to get me where I should be. Not only spirit world, dead ones or guides, I think it's also something to do with the soul. So when I believe my soul plan, I did it before I came here or something like this. That's what I believe. Then I definitely have chosen some subjects or some themes or some opportunities to expand my soul level or something like this. It doesn't matter. And I think it was just, everything went that fast. I wasn't not really able to think about. I'm more the maker, not the thinker. For me, it's easier to do it and reflect if it was good or not.
Just to follow your intuition, not to overthink it too much.
Yeah, follow the impulse and go with it, and let's see what comes out. Of course, you think, of course, what will it look like, or how can you deal with it? And 20 years before, when someone would have said to me, "Oh, Petra, you will become a medium," and I said, now we have to go to the bar because you need a drink immediately, because it never fitted to my personality or something. Yes, I was interested in astrologic or something like this, but me as a medium, nope. Definitely.
Do you know what? I think that, not that I ever judge any book by its cover, but I can understand why you would say that. You wouldn't maybe necessarily think of it, but I think you got this way from my, somewhat limited experience of being with you, but we did spend 7 nights together. That doesn't sound right, does it? Yeah.
7 days. 7 days.
7 days, yes, not 7 nights.
21 meals, maybe.
Yes, it was a lot of meals. It was a lot of meals. At the college, in case anyone's wondering what on the earth we're on about. So
it was amazing.
It was really good, but I guess you come across to me as someone who's very much driven by evidence and fact. And I think that maybe that's part of why you're such a good medium, because you're very driven by the evidence. Yeah. Whereas, and that for me is, really the sign of a good medium. You want to feel absolutely concrete that when I'm getting a reading, I need lots of evidence. I'm someone that really needs to know beyond all, reasonable doubt. So I want to kind of come on, because we talked about your backstory now, but I want to sort of come on more about what you've learned, your experiences of being a medium, because you've got so much wisdom that I want to unpack some of this. And one thing that you mentioned before we started recording, and it is a subject I want to talk about because I think it's so relevant, and I think it's also probably very relevant to myself in some ways. So
now it feels like you're putting 10 questions in one moment.
I probably am. I do have a habit of doing this, and then I also have a habit on the Soul Sync of asking a question, then forgetting the question I've asked. So you'll notice this as we go through this. So the subject of honesty, let's talk about that. You had this moment of insight earlier, a moment of, where the light bulb went off. Talk to us about honesty and why you feel that that's important, and your experiences with honesty.
With honesty, I was inspired to talk from spirit world, from the guides. And I definitely can understand why they want me to talk about, because to the mediumship and all my development started off and really about, I think, 6 years, really hard one. But I gave it to myself in the hard way, because just of doubts. I doubted everything, that it is possible, that it exists, that it is possible that I am the medium, that I can read it, that I can feel it. I doubted everything, each single fact, everything. And to be honest, without the doubts, I would never become a medium, never. And it also brought me up to the facts, because therefore I also became a teacher who is amazing in facts, a real technical one, Tim Abbott. And I share my journey with him now since 10 years. Thankful for every meeting. But without the facts, you don't get your brain quiet. And if you don't get this goal, when you don't achieve it, you're not able to let go and become part of the presence and the love of spirit. Nope. For me, not possible. Because maybe you feel the presence, but your brain don't understand it, you will doubt it. So there's no place for the feeling. And spirit world has so much work to do, and the medium also. And when you are a stubborn client, and I definitely, because I want the facts and I need it to clear my brain out and to clear my thoughts out and everything like this, because you have to come to a point when you really find your trust in yourself. As a medium, as a client, doesn't matter. And trust is not everything, is not the same for everyone. A lot of people, their belief system is big and God, there is no doubt about. And there are so many people, they believe in nothing, or they believe just in their hard work and in their career or in their handcrafts, whatever. But you really have to find in yourself the point of trust. And if you don't get it, you will doubt. So for me, it was really just one decision. I stopped doubting just because of the sentence, okay, it works with the doubts, and with them, it is a hard way. Or I can enjoy the journey and stop doubting a little bit, and it will work before and it worked after. So that's why. And I think it's not the problem to doubt. I think it's really a problem, and it was with me, when you hurt yourself with it, when you go into pain because you think that much and you doubt yourself and you push yourself down, and your confidence and everything goes smaller and smaller and smaller. So therefore it's not the healthy way. And yeah, in points like this, in moments like this, when you are not honest with yourself, then nobody is able to help. And so that's why.
Do you know what? It's such an interesting topic, because only recently, and it was actually my boyfriend that pointed this out to me the other day, as people often do who are close to you. He said to me, Jason, you're not honest with yourself. And I said, what do you mean by that? And he said, you lie to yourself all the time. And do you know what? I went away and really started to think about it. And I thought to myself, I am lying to myself a lot of the time. And subsequently, I'm actually going to do a whole episode about being honest with yourself. Or are you your own best friend or your own worst enemy? And, you know, it's even silly things. Like sometimes I've got this meal plan that I'm meant to be sticking to, that my trainer's given to me. And there was a period of time where I would lie to myself about doing the amount of steps I'm meant to be doing. And it's almost like, in a way, self-sabotage. And I've started to really be aware of that a lot more, because I've definitely got self-sabotage tendencies. I was saying this to my boyfriend the other night. I was saying to him, I'm only ever a moment away from pushing the fuck it button. It's always in reaching distance. It's never far away, and he's exactly the same. But I think there is a lot to be said for that. But on the subject of doubt, I totally think, though, when you're going along this mediumship journey, doubt, I guess, in some level or another, it's going to be there, because one, you don't know whether to believe it or not, because I remember even times when I was at that Arthur Findlay course with you, and I stood on that platform, gave an absolutely perfect reading, pointed out the right person. I did. But then the funny thing was, the mind has a habit of playing tricks on you. Because afterwards I started to doubt whether I'd actually even done that. And my mind, over a period of time, it's almost like Chinese whispers, started distorting what had happened. So I get that, but I guess in a way we're all on our own journey with this, and self-doubt, something that I've massively struggled with in my mediumship. What happened was I left, and sorry, I'm talking way too much about myself here. This needs to be about you, but
that's you, Jason.
Yes, you're sending me off down a rabbit hole now. After I'd been to the Arthur Findlay College, I felt like, oh my goodness, this is coming to me so easily. I know, and then I left the college. did 2 readings and they were awful. Like there was nothing that was right. And then it seriously knocked my confidence. And doubt really did creep in. How did what you said was interesting though, Petra. When you said it works with the doubt or without the doubt. But so by letting go of the doubt, you're going to get a better result. Yeah, it is. That's a very matter-of-fact way of looking at it.
It's not only you get the better results. The most important thing for me was it was easier for myself. So, and I felt more comfortable, and I just accepted what I got. And I really recognized in all the mediumships, it doesn't matter how many facts and stories and amazing love you get from spirit world. You as a person in between the two chairs, the spirit world and the client, you never know the story from the spirit world because you don't know them, and also not from the client, you don't know them. So you have to go along with what you get, and you can really play the whole life in understanding this language. For me, the spirit world is talking in a language for me, but I'm a translator.
You are, and there's a lot to be said for that. Do you find that over time, then, as your mediumship has developed, have you kind of had almost like new faculties unlocked and different things? Can you interpret things differently? Do you get new ways of functioning the more you do this, almost like unlocking new features in your mediumship the more you develop? Or has it been quite consistent in being one particular way? If I've done a good job of even trying to explain that question.
I'm not really sure what you're talking about, but I think it's like everything you do in life. When you start playing tennis, you cannot only play with one hand on one side. You have to bring the hand on the other side. You have to learn how to move your feet. You have to go to the net in the middle. You have to keep the ball behind and everything like this. So you have to be flexible. And you have to be. It sounds so stupid because I always did it for fun. That sounds not that serious, and it's definitely not sounds like a businesswoman, but when I don't have the fun in it, when I don't do it because there is an enlightenment in me and it brings good times along, so why should I do it? This is also something when you just doubt yourself and you were talking about self-sabotage. How do you spell it?
Sabotage.
Sabotage. For me, it was really interesting and really, really important. And also my guide taught me through all the years, you have to get to know who you are. When you know yourself, then you understand easier which buttons spirit world presses on you, because you are the medium you are. You are the human you are, and the medium and the human being. You can't separate it. It's one. So therefore the spirit world can work with you. And this is one point I realized it made it so much easier to me. So, and therefore you have to be honest with yourself. You have to get to know who you really are and how you really are. And there were so many things I have really recognized. Shit, I hide them in myself because. And sometimes there were really positive things and sometimes negative things. Sometimes there were some parts of the character I don't like on myself, or I had bad experiences. People told me off because of this. So I just threw it somewhere else and and hid it. And it was also about, it's not always nice and always beautiful to be good in something. You really have to accept it. You really have to be proud and learn being proud of yourself. This was also really interesting for me. Because since I don't want to blame someone or something, because it was what it was, but in my whole childhood and in my youth, it was always be as try to be like the others. Don't fall in some differences and don't shine brighter and don't be louder or something and dance like the others, talk like the others, bring the same notes home from school. If you are good in something, then please be it in something we know. So guess what they got? Now they've got the medium.
Yes.
And I had to deal with it too. It was not only for my family, it was hard for them, I think. Yeah. And also for me.
Are they kind of what's their relationship now with the mediumship? Do they kind of fully understand it, your family, or are they still quite unsure of it?
No, fully understand is a big word, because what I know and understand with the mediumship, of course, they don't do. But funny enough, tomorrow I got a real great thing, because my dad asked me for a sitting with his dad. And this is a real big thing, because now I'm been self-employed as a medium since 15 years now. And he always started it, always. And how do you do this? And really, that works? Are you sure?
What a big day.
Tomorrow will be a big day. Yeah.
Have you been sending your intent up to make sure the father of your father is cued and ready?
Yeah. The father of my father is also my granddad, and they love me.
Oh, so, yes, that's also very
that's why it will work, of course. But
I guess we all have in our childhoods what we get kind of conditioned as a young person really does stay with us. And I guess that this is one thing that I've really learned, to kind of fully understand myself and my soul. What I've struggled with myself is to realize that yes, my experiences of the past do make me the person I am, but that's not necessarily the person I truly am, just based on my experiences. And I've also realised that I wasn't even necessarily aware that I was doing this until I went to the Arthur Findlay College, and since then, that I seem to have different masks for different people, and different projections, and I would never have even realised I was because I'm a bit like I say I'm a chameleon. You probably would know. You definitely know when I'm in a room, but I do try and blend in depending on the crowd I'm in. And I didn't realise I had such chameleon tendencies until recently.
To me, I think it's not a problem. No. Also, what you teach from your teachers in school, or from the family, or from mom or dad, I think it's not a problem. I think it's all of them. You need it to be who you are and who you have been. So, and when you put all together, like you see now on the sign behind the bloom of life, I don't know if you know them, but there are so many different parts in ourselves. And I think it's not possible to live all the parts of ourselves in one moment. And therefore, God had the idea. We take something like childhood, we take something like youth, we let them do it as the adults, as a mother, or as the businesswoman, or something like this. For there is time for everything, and I think there is time for the right thing. And when you are talking, we are talking with spirit, so we know in one moment everything of one person is there, and you are not able to tell everything, but when we remember ourselves that we are the same. So everything at the moment, who you are, who am I, is there. And it's not possible because we got time and room. So not possible. But yeah, I really hear what you're saying. But also with the masks on, and I don't think it is a problem. I think it will be a problem when you don't find out how many masks you've got.
I think I've got a whole wardrobe full of them, Petra. Actually, the more I think about,
oh, lucky man.
I've got a couple that maybe get worn much more than others. But what from all of your, obviously you've been along this journey, and I think you can't underestimate just how much of a journey it is to go through doing mediumship. It really, it brings out vulnerabilities, and to make yourself a clear vessel is not easy. There's a lot that I'm realizing, but I need to unpack. But there's a lot of people that listen to this show which are really wanting to, develop their mediumship. And a lot of people are starting out on their journey, not even sure if the spirit world is real. What advice from all of your experiences would you give to people who are trying to develop their mediumship? What pearls of wisdom can you give to people now where you are with the benefit of hindsight?
I think it's not possible to put one wisdom to all of them, because it's always up to yourself. And going just for the mediumship when you don't know what it's all about. So I think it could be really hard to go that way. And therefore I started up with 2 education forms. Only the mediumship, only. When you just train it with the mediumship, when you just train it to the communication with the spirit world, doing the meditations and everything, but always in the seminars with the mediumship, with the spirit world. And I started before with a form I called Sense Me, feeling myself, and going through a 6 months time together in a group. Everyone is showing off their problems, and we have a look on which tools from sensitivity, mediumship, or meditation we can take to sort the problems out. And this is one that people really like, because when you've got in your brain, I have to do a contact, and immediately something in yourself wants to make the client happy. And when you doubt yourself, it's not possible to make someone else happy. Definitely not when someone else is standing next to you. You don't know them, because they know how they become the client happy, not you as a medium. So you can hear there is a lot of confusion when you start off with mediumship. So the other thing, Sense Me, could also be a possibility. Taking your own sabotage, say it again.
Sabotage.
I will have to learn it a little bit more. Sabotage problems and things, and put it in the right exercise with the mediumship and with the sensitivity. Then you get to know yourself, and you do it with a good feeling. And then it's easier to come into the thing you don't know yet, the mediumship. You hear what I say?
Yeah, I do. I think that's a really good way of putting it, actually.
Myself. Start with yourself. It's the easiest way, because there's one thing. Again, be honest. We are really, really good in controlling ourselves. And when I start with myself, I can control. I really can control myself. I can choose how far I go, how deep I go, how much I show off. I can control it. So I can take my fear in my love and show it off. So that is really good.
That's beautiful. I think you were saying a lot of very profound things, actually, which do resonate. But I found this through interviewing mediums so often. There'll be this moment where I go, that's really relevant to me. Petra, thank you so much. I can't believe we're at the time we are at, where our time together has run out. Well, it hasn't run out. We could stay talking for at least another half an hour about all sorts of things. But
we will meet again. Definitely.
We shall. thank you so much for coming on to the Soul Sync. I'm sure everyone's enjoyed it as much as I have. And if you do want to know more about Petra, just go to the show notes where you can go to her website, which currently is in, what language is it in? German, but it's about to have a translate button. Am I right?
Oh, okay. Now I know what I have to do.
Do you know what? I thought you told me there was one coming.
No.
Well, there wasn't, but there is now. This is now a project that
Facebook does the translation. Yep. No, all my videos, sadly, they are all in German, also in the Austrian slang.
Well, funnily enough, actually, when I was looking at the download stats for this, Germany is the 4th country, most popular country downloading the Soul Sync. So actually, I'm sure to all our lovely German listeners out there.
So you haven't learned my homepage address in German? You haven't?
It's I'm going to do it now. www.energy with an IE -in-flus. .at.
Your German is brilliant.
My German is awful, Petra. Let's not even go there. But thank you, honestly, so much. It's been delightful.
Jason, it was such a pleasure. Thanks for the invitation. Thanks for a great evening.
A massive thank you for joining me on another enlightening episode of Soul Sync. If you want to stay in the loop with the Soul Sync podcast, it's easy. Simply hit the follow button wherever you listen to your favourite podcast, and by supporting me, you are really supporting this podcast as it allows me to continue to get world-class speakers onto the show. If you're enjoying the podcast, can I ask you a favour? Please take a moment to leave a review wherever you tune in. Your feedback really does mean the world to me, and it not only puts a massive smile on my face reading all of your feedback, it really helps others to be able to find the Soul Sync more easily. If you want to get involved with the conversation with our community, as well as hearing from me with off-podcast content, look at the bottom of the show notes where you'll find my Facebook page and newsletter function. If you have suggestions for future episodes, or a guest you'd love to see featured, or you might have a story you'd like to share with our wonderful audience, simply email me at hello@jasonpaulmedium.com. Your stories and ideas are the heartbeat of Soul Sync, and your input is invaluable in shaping the soulful conversations I bring to you. I'm Jason Paul. You've been listening to the Soul Sync. Until next time, goodbye.